Good morning.
Yes, good morning to you.
Wherever you are right now, whether you are sitting quietly with your coffee, listening to the sounds of the world slowly waking up outside, or stealing a few peaceful minutes just for yourself, I am so happy you are here.
I'm Gavin, and this is your weekly English morning motivation.
Last week, I took you to Da Nang, a city of wide beaches, golden sand, and a dragon that breathes fire over the river at sunset.
Today, I want to take you somewhere a little different.
Somewhere slower, quieter, older.
Today, we are going to a place where time seems to move differently, where the streets are narrow and lantern-lit, where ancient wooden shophouses lean gently toward each other across cobblestone lanes, where the river glows at night with the reflection of 1,000 colored lights.
Today, I am taking you to Hoi An.
Hoi An is a small, ancient town on the central coast of Vietnam, just about 30 kilometers south of Da Nang. You can get there by taxi, by motorbike, or, if you are feeling adventurous, by bicycle along the coast road.
I chose the bicycle.
It was early morning when I set off. The air was cool and fresh. The road ran alongside rice fields on one side and the occasional glimpse of the sea on the other. Farmers were already working in the fields, moving slowly, deliberately, in the golden early light. I remember thinking, this is what Vietnam looks like when no one is performing it for tourists. This is just life, happening quietly, the way it always has.
After about an hour of cycling, I saw the first sign for Hoi An Ancient Town.
And then I turned a corner, and the world changed. The ancient town of Hoi An is a UNESCO Heritage World Site. That means it is officially recognized as one of the most important and valuable places in the world. And the moment you enter it, you understand why.
The streets are narrow, barely wide enough for two people to walk side by side. The buildings on either side are old, some of them hundreds of years old, with wooden facades painted in shades of yellow, ochre, and gold. Flowering vines climb the walls. Colorful silk lanterns hang from every eave, swaying gently in the breeze. There are no cars allowed inside the ancient town. No motorbikes, no noise from engines.
Just footsteps, bicycle bells, the sound of the river nearby, and music. Somewhere, always music. A traditional instrument playing softly from inside a doorway. A woman singing in the distance.
I walked slowly, very slowly, because Hoi An is the kind of place that punishes rushing. If you rush, you miss everything. If you slow down, really slow down, the town reveals itself to you, layer by layer, like a story being told one sentence at a time. The Thu Bon River runs along the edge of the ancient town, and at night, this river becomes one of the most magical sights I have ever seen. Every evening, the people of Hoi An release paper lanterns onto the river. Small, glowing lanterns in pink and yellow and orange and blue, floating gently downstream in the darkness, their light reflected in the still water below. I sat on the riverbank and watched for a long time. Around me, families were sitting together, children were laughing, old couples were holding hands and watching the lanterns drift past. Vendors were selling flowers and incense and small floating candles. There was no hurry. There was no agenda. There was just this gentle, glowing, beautiful moment happening quietly at the edge of a river in a small, ancient town in Vietnam. I felt something I can only describe as wholeness,
like all the scattered pieces of a busy, rushing, distracted life had come together, just for a moment, into something complete and still. I bought a lantern. I wrote a small wish on the inside, and I placed it on the water and watched it float away, downstream, into the darkness, carrying something small and hopeful with it. I don't know if wishes come true, but I know that the act of making one, quietly, honestly, in a beautiful place, does something good to the heart. Now let me tell you about the food. Because in Hoi An, the food is as much a part of the experience as the lanterns and the ancient streets. Hoi An has its own cuisine, dishes that were born here, in this town, and cannot be found anywhere else in quite the same way. The first dish I want to tell you about is Cao Lao. Cao Lao is a noodle dish that is completely unique to Hoi An. The noodles are thick and chewy, with a slightly smoky flavor. They are made using water from a specific ancient well in the town, which is said to give them their distinctive taste. On top, there are slices of tender pork, fresh herbs, crispy rice crackers, and bean sprouts. It sounds simple, and it is simple, but the combination of textures and flavors is extraordinary. I had Cao Lao at a small restaurant on a narrow side street. I sat at a plastic table on the sidewalk, surrounded by locals eating the same dish. No menu in English, no tourist prices, just a bowl of something deeply, quietly perfect. The second dish I want to tell you about is white rose dumplings, or bon bao vac. These are delicate steamed rice dumplings, shaped to look like white roses. They are filled with shrimp and topped with crispy fried shallots. The texture is soft and silky. The flavor is light and clean. They are beautiful to look at, and even more beautiful to eat. I was told that white rose dumplings are made by only one family in all of Hoi An, and that family supplies every restaurant in town. The recipe has been kept secret for generations. There is something wonderful about that. In a world where everything is available everywhere, all the time, here is something that exists only in this one place, made by only these hands, passed down through only this family. Some things are worth traveling for. On my second day in Hoi An, I did something I had never done before. I had a suit made. Hoi An is famous throughout the world for its tailors. There are hundreds of tailoring shops in the town, family-run businesses that can create almost any piece of clothing made to measure in just 24 to 48 hours. I walked into a small shop on one of the main streets. The walls were lined with fabric, silks, linens, wools, and every color imaginable. An elderly woman sat at a sewing machine in the corner, working with quiet concentration. Her daughter spoke English and helped me choose a fabric, a deep navy blue linen, cool and smooth to the touch. We talked about the style I wanted. She took my measurements with a cloth tape measure: shoulders, chest, waist, arms, length. The whole process took about 20 minutes. I came back the next afternoon, and there it was, a perfectly fitted suit, made just for me, in less than a day. I tried it on. It fit like it had been made for my body, because it had. I have bought clothes in many cities around the world, but nothing has ever felt quite like wearing something made specifically for you, by someone who took the time to understand exactly what you needed. That, I think, is what craftsmanship means. Not just skill, but care, attention, the willingness to make something well for one specific person, one time. Before we get to today's vocabulary, I want to say something. Hoi An taught me something I have been thinking about ever since. In a world that is always speeding up, there is radical beauty in slowing down. In a world that is always looking forward, there is profound wisdom in honoring the past. In a world that celebrates scale and efficiency and mass production, there is something deeply human about things that are handmade, place-specific, and irreplaceable.
Hoi An is all of those things. And spending time there reminded me that not everything worth having can be found online, delivered to your door, or experienced through a screen.
Some things, the most beautiful things, require you to go, to show up, to be present, to slow down enough to actually see them. And learning English, I believe, is one of the doors that opens the world to you. The door that lets you walk into a small restaurant in Hoi An, point at what someone else is eating, and say, "I'll have that, please." Keep walking through that door. The world on the other side is extraordinary.
Now, let's look at today's key vocabulary.
Facade. A facade is the front face or exterior of a building, what you see from the outside. For example, the buildings had wooden facades painted in shades of yellow and gold. Word number 2. Eave. An eave is the lower edge of a roof that overhangs the wall of a building. For example, colorful silk lanterns hung from every eave, swaying gently in the breeze. Word number 3. Distinctive. Distinctive means characteristic, having a quality that makes something easy to recognize or different from others. For example, the well water is set to give the noodles their distinctive taste. Word number 4. Craftsmanship. Craftsmanship means the quality of design and work shown in something made by hand. Skill, care, and attention to detail. For example, the suit was a perfect example of true craftsmanship. Word number 5. Irreplaceable. Irreplaceable means too valuable or unique to be replaced by something else. For example, some things are handmade, place-specific, and irreplaceable. Word number 6. Profound. Profound means very deep, intense, or significant, going far below the surface. For example, there is profound wisdom in honoring the past. Word number 7. Wholeness. Wholeness means the state of being complete, unified, and at peace. Nothing missing, nothing broken. For example, sitting by the river watching the lanterns, I felt a sense of wholeness I rarely feel in daily life. We have reached the end of today's journey. And I hope, somewhere in these past 15 minutes, you felt it. The narrow golden streets, the silk lantern swaying in the breeze, the bowl of kaolao on a plastic table on a sidewalk, the paper lantern drifting downstream in the darkness, carrying a small, quiet wish. I hope Hoi An gave you something today, a moment of stillness, a sense of wonder, a gentle reminder that the world is full of beauty that is waiting to be discovered. And I hope, whenever you are ready, you go and find it for yourself. Thank you so much for listening. If today's episode took you somewhere beautiful, please give it a like. Share it with a friend who loves to travel or wants to improve their English, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode. I'm Gavin. Slow down. Look around. Let the world surprise you. And I will see you next week.